Hello, comrades. My name's Casey, and I'm one of the folks behind the social card game Commies, which is live on Kickstarter right now. In this video, we're going to talk about strategy options in the late game. So if you're new to the game and don't know the basic gameplay, check out one of our other videos for rules and how to get started. For right now, I'll just remind everyone that we've got power cards. That's what these guys are here. Power cards either have a boot or a fist on them. Some of them have multiple fists or multiple boots. When power cards are played, they stay out on the board, and we calculate up at the end of the game who has more support. Is it the Bolsheviks with their boots or the Mensheviks with their fists? The power cards ultimately determine which team, which side wins. Then the power cards, well, they determine where you sit on the tableau. So the party out here that has more power cards will always be on the left side. So if more of these power cards were out here, then me, Orange, I would end up on the far left side of the Bolsheviks here, and the tableau would shift around accordingly. Okay, so where we find ourselves in this is a little later on in one game. Okay, now the game is not looking too good for me here. I'm actually down to just one supporter token left, okay? You can see that green over here has got a healthy stack, red's doing pretty well. I'm down to just one. And that means that at the start of the next plot, if this holds, if I don't win any additional support from the board, then I will lose and the game will end. And then obviously the state money over here will be split amongst the winners. Now we're already into a plot in this setup here. We've played one round, so a couple of cards have been played, one by every player. Blue, you can see, has an additional leader card out here, making them a Bolshevik. A couple of power cards have been played, and the canceled out ones have been tossed. Now, I have been holding on to my leader cards, so I actually have full control over where I end up on the board, and that's what I think makes this an interesting setup. So we're going to go over 3 different ways that this could be played. There's more than that, but we'll start with 3 just to get the feel for it. Now the first play, and maybe the most obvious, is simply to play my 3 leader cards. So I would play them one at a time. And assuming no one else on the board played leader cards, or assuming no one played as many as I did in rapid succession, I would immediately end up over here on the Bolshevik side by the end of the plot. Now that could be really advantageous, especially right now. You see the Bolsheviks already have some power cards on the board. I've got a little to support here, but the truth is I can't make much of a difference in whether the Bolsheviks or the Mensheviks win, especially if I use the next 3 turns to play my leader cards. I would only have one more turn to play one boot, and that's not a big amount of support, politically speaking here. So that might be a risky play. The downside for it is definitely that I don't have a lot to offer the Bolshevik side should I choose to go that way. Now another play I have is I can ensure myself to stay as a Menshevik. Now the way to think about that is obviously playing power cards moves you to the Bolshevik side. But if you know that none of your power cards are going to be played, then you can count on other people having power cards played using the table talk, using a little bit of social manipulation. Maybe a little bit of bluffing to get other people to either play their power cards or play each other's power cards. So that kind of social play can ensure that I would end up as a Menshevik because I would for sure not have any of my leader cards played. And that's a pretty good move. I have a few cards that I could play, and not having to play my own leader cards frees up those turns for me to contribute more to the Menshevik side. But again, I still don't have a lot of power to contribute to the Menshevik cause. So again, a little bit of a risky play. Now the last option, or not exactly the last, but the last we'll discuss, this option is a little more on the sneaky side. This option would be for me to sit back and play both boots and fists, since they don't make a huge amount of difference. I could play a single boot one turn, a single fist the next turn, these would cancel out in the end and make ultimately no difference on the outcome of the game. I would mostly be sitting back and wait to see what other people play. Now I'm right in the middle, and if it looks like near the end the Bolsheviks are taking the lead, well, I can play a few more cards to keep myself on the Bolshevik side. However, it looks like the Mensheviks are going to win. I could maybe play a blue card to make sure that blue is shifted further left, might affect the tableau, or simply not play any of my cards to keep myself either in the neutral zone or push myself over to the Menshevik side. I hope that this example made sense to you guys. I hope it kind of demonstrated some of the strategy that comes into play, the depth that you can think about, especially later on in the game. And I hope it shows that there's really no committed strategy that's best until you read the table and your opponents. Sometimes you might want to be honest with them. Sometimes you might want to bluff with them. But either way, you don't want to commit to a strategy until you can feel out what the table's up to. Well, hope you guys will check us out on Kickstarter. Have a great day.